This is a presentation on the FamilySearch Wiki. It's a very powerful tool that hopefully you will come to know how to use. The FamilySearch Wiki is a tool for finding information about subjects, records that may have been generated about your ancestors, and the places in which the records might be found. It also gives you much detail on the cultural aspects, languages, key words that will help you decipher genealogical records and the such. You can search for places your ancestors lived, for subjects and research methods to help you understand and learn about the history of your families. Additionally, it searches not just things within FamilySearch, but it points you at resources all over the world in other databases and also on websites put up by independent people in various organizations. In order to get to the FamilySearch Wiki, you go to log into FamilySearch, put your cursor on search, don't click on it, and then if you note in the menu that popped up, you see Research Wiki. You slide down and click on Research Wiki. This is the page that will come up, the FamilySearch Research Wiki. You'll see on the right a map of the world. On the left, in the faint blue-gray box, search by place or topic. You will note circled in red is guided research, and it will go to that first. It's brief, it's a new functionality. It will pop up a map of the world. Those areas in green are functional, and it's a different way to do some research. It's a work in progress. I wouldn't at this point recommend it. There's not a great deal behind it, but just to indicate what it is. Back to the landing page of the wiki, you'll see encircled New to the Wiki. If you click on that, it will bring you to another page. On the left, the arrow points at getting started in the wiki, completing the basics, and that will give you some introduction. The arrow pointing to the right says browsing the wiki, navigating the site. You could select those to become familiar with the wiki, or go on to search by place or topic. It is so you can enter by a place on the globe, a name of a town, name of a country or region, or a topic, say Native American tribes. Your wiki topic or place may be shallow or deep, and you don't know until you wade in. Those areas of Western European descent, Europe, United States, Canada, places that have been well developed and with lots of resources, those areas of the wiki tend to be quite deep. Other areas, not as much, but you don't know until you check. It is an incredibly valuable resource. So let's search by place. We're going to select Europe. In that landing page, going back here, that map on the right-hand side is what we will be using. So let's search by place. The FamilySearch Wiki map is a way to find articles by location. The map is most useful, but not limited to understanding records from other lands. So we select Europe. Up pops a map of Europe, color-coded, the countries on the right. You can either select by the map of Europe, or you could scroll down on this page, only a portion of which is seen, to find the country or island that you wish. So let's pick Iceland, just because I don't know much about Iceland. So clicking on Iceland brings up Iceland genealogy. Again, you're looking at a portion of a very long page. If we were able to scroll down in this presentation, I could show you how long it is. But there are many topics. Let's draw your attention to getting started with Iceland research. Over on the right are the various record types, and there are many. Cemeteries, census, church records, civil registration, land and property, newspapers, online records, many topics. There is Iceland Online Records, and this provides links to many Icelandic collections in or out of FamilySearch. The other arrow, pointing at the smaller sort of purplish button, Ask the Community. FamilySearch genealogy research groups are resources where individuals can post questions or translation requests for a particular country or region. The community consists of individuals who wish to collaborate and help one another find answers. So all of the FamilySearch geographic regions, say Icelandic research, German research, Ireland, all of the pages are vaguely the same. They're presented somewhat the same, so you would get familiar with how to use the tools. Icelandic research topics, going back to Iceland, you'll note the various sorts of record types. The column in the middle actually fits below the column on the left. And so there are many different record types. On the right-hand column, it says Icelandic immigration and immigration. If you had an Icelandic ancestor, you may want to know something about the immigration process there. As the wiki points at not just FamilySearch, but also other resources, we find in the upper left records within FamilySearch. In the upper right, the same different, it's about Icelandic immigration records. But the bottom left and the bottom right are records that are outside of FamilySearch within some of those links within the Icelandic genealogical area. So it points at any reference that is applicable that has been brought to the attention of FamilySearch Wiki. One of the topics there was housing, dwellings, and I thought that quite interesting. If I were of Icelandic / Viking origin, I would really like to know about turf houses in the Viking Age. There are pictures, there are maps of specific dwellings that have been excavated. Quite interesting. So it's not just about records. The wiki will point you at cultural aspects that help you further understand your ancestors. There are language articles in the wiki, including quite valuable, most valuable is a list of translated genealogical terms. You may have German ancestors. You may not know how to read or speak German, but if you know certain key words, birth, death, marriage, mother, daughter, those sorts of things, it will help you understand an image that you may see. The lists of genealogical terms can be quite useful when we find documents in a foreign language. There are translation applications. Google has one, Google Translate. There are a number of them where you can type in the words that you see. If it's a searchable document, you can copy and then paste into the translating software and get an approximate translation. So let's search. We're back to the landing page for the FamilySearch Wiki. So that was a quick demonstration of how we search by place. Let's search by topic. Let's pick Jewish genealogy. you fill in where that red circle is. Type in whatever you want to search on, in this case, Jewish genealogy. Up pops one of the options was a Jewish shtetl seeker. A shtetl is a Yiddish term for village. The Jewish cultures, they tended to stay off to themselves, and so finding a list, you may have heard that one's Jewish ancestor, great-grandmother, came from the name of some little shtetl, some little village, which now, under Soviet, Polish, other occupation, no longer exists. And so you can find things that are quite valuable, like enter the village and the shtetl, and it'll tell you where you can find that area today. There are pictures on the right. Pasted in is a reference Jewish genealogy. It's a 56-page document of publication, free to download from the Family History Library. Under the topic, under the list of Jewish archives and libraries, there is a really rich subsection of various archives around the world, search strategies for Jewish ancestry, which could be immensely valuable. To give an example of why one might want to use the wiki, I have Nova Scotia ancestry, French Canadian, Acadian people, and I wanted to find a probate record. Probate records come about when a person has died and their valuables, their property, goes through a process of probate. What happens is surviving families, some of them get together, so there are lots of records of what was owned, where people lived, who was present. Very, very valuable. So I punched in an ancestor's name just in search records, and I got 3,000 plus records for just one of multiple name variants. None of those records was a probate record. I found out later it's because they were not indexed. An index is when a record lists an individual, you put in the name, and it brings you to the information. There are far more records that have been microfilmed, that are being converted or have been converted to digital images that are searchable, but if they're not indexed, when you click on it, it doesn't take you to that particular record. But what we can do is search unindexed images. And why would we want to do that? Because currently, 70% of all images, all record images, are unindexed. They may be in, the data is in FamilySearch, but as browseable, unindexed records. You can improve that percentage, by the way, if you do indexing in your spare time. And that's another topic. But there are many, many records that are awaiting indexing, so they could be conveniently found. So most data is not findable by using a search form and by hints. Those things unindexed will not come in as a hint either. So there were no indexed probate records for my Nova Scotia ancestors in either records or collections. So do we stop there? We go to the wiki. So in the upper left image of the world, I clicked on North America, clicked on Canada, clicked on Nova Scotia. It brought me in the outline in blue box, Nova Scotia, Canada genealogy. There was a listing for probate records, so I clicked on that. It brought me to this page. Within the blue bordered box is a list of the records that are there. The Nova Scotia probate records from 1749 to 1958. They're unindexed, digital browsable images. They have waypoints in this particular collection, an alpha sort, alphabetical sort by name, and and also by year. So it's an alpha sort within a date range. There happen to be 1.4 million images. If you're thinking, I'm done, I'd suggest you not. Within 45 minutes, I came to the what I was looking for. And so these images are too small for you to see, the individual listings, but it gives A to Z, a date range for people by surname and by county. So I mentioned waypoints. What are waypoints and why would I use them? Waypoints are kind of like mile markers on the freeway. They organize image sets into logical chunks. They let you drill down from a large set of images until you are at a small subset of interest. It's thought of as light indexing of the images, listing where, what, when, etc. Going to the correct subset, one finds images like this. You can blow it up and expand any single thumbnail or zoom way out to get clues. And what do I mean by that? If you zoom in, you can read an individual page. If you zoom out, you get some hints on how the collection is organized. Next slide shows gives you a sense of how this collection's image is organized. Each browsable collection is different, just like every book on a shelf in a library is different. Every record is organized differently. It could be by county, it could be by a region, it could be by year, it could be an alphabetical list. So every collection is different. So by zooming out, by reading the header, the beginning of the waypoint information, details about the collection, you get an idea of what might be in there. So for this one particular, there are a few different collections within over 1,000 images. I did not sit there and go through 1,000 images. In the upper left in the circle, the circled red box, you see the number of the images of 1,043 pages. But if you note within the yellow boxes, you'll see things like end, beginning, an odd horizontal representation. It's the binder of a book. And so if you are going through some of these images, say in the upper row, and it's not your county, it's not your time, it's not your person, then you can go to the end of the collection, go to the begin, see what details are written before it begins with the first images. So it'll give you a sense, oh, now it's going to my county. Oh, it's going to the year that I'm looking for, and such. So you can zoom in to read, you zoom out to look at beginning and ends of collections and the details at the beginning of the collection, which is also microfilmed. Guysborough, birth, baptisms, in giving a range of years. So at any rate, within 45 minutes of applying these tools, I found the probate record of my great-great-grandfather. And I went to the wiki, North America, Canada, Nova Scotia, probate records, browsable images, drilled down using the waypoints to get close to where I was looking. It's one of 17 pages, tells me who was surviving at that point, gives me details, what the man owned, absolutely priceless information. You can also find unindexed records from the search records and then browse all published collection. So what does that mean? If we just went to search, you see the red encircled search button, and then you clicked on that and went to records. Instead of filling in names here on the left, because filling in names on an unindexed collection won't be of any value, but you see this red encircled area in the bottom right. Browse all published collections. So by clicking on that, you get a list beginning in an alpha sort. Alabama, all sorts of Alabama records. Just want to point out, we're not interested in Alabama, but I want to point out what you will see. There are different icons. There's a camera with what looks like a screen behind it, a plain camera. The camera with a screen behind it will take you to another website. A camera image is an image on FamilySearch, and those would be searchable because they're indexed. If you note here, the records, it lists the number of indexed records in this column. If you're looking for something in Alabama probate records, say, there's an image, but it says browse images. It's unindexed. By clicking on that, you would then go to a collection of records. And just as the brief demonstration of those with Nova Scotia, you could drill down using waypoints and find within the Alabama probate records the record you were looking for, most likely. This is just a quick overview of the wiki. Hopefully one can't really learn the wiki in a presentation like this. You need to take these tools, sit down, and practice. I highly recommend this video, Robert Kerrer, Finding Elusive Records in FamilySearch, a portion of which deals with browsable images. And it is about an hour long. It is incredibly worth your time, and you would learn a great deal by reviewing it. There's another short video, less than 15 minutes, on the FamilySearch Wiki. The links to those two are listed. And I'd like to say, don't ever, I'm quoting Elder Cook, don't underestimate the influence of the deceased in assisting your efforts, referencing our searches in FamilySearch for our ancestors. The articles in the wiki, by the way, are written and updated by experts in their respective fields. However, like other online encyclopedias, members of the site can help edit or update. A member is anyone with a FamilySearch account. It could be that you know more about a particular topic, or a particular region, a particular people, a particular culture, and you could improve the wiki by requesting editing or writing access. And that is within the landing page of the wiki as well. So hopefully this is of value, and see you around the stake.